I work nights as the sole security guard for a small-town art museum. My shift runs 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and apart from the silent alarm panel I have nobody and nothing to talk to. Most nights are mind-numbingly routine. I walk the galleries twice an hour, log temperatures in the storage vault, and stare at the monitors until sunrise. That Friday began no differently. My supervisor handed over the keys, reminded me to arm the lobby doors at 11, and disappeared. Once the exterior lights clicked off, the whole place felt like an enormous, echoing cave. I was halfway through the first patrol when I noticed a faint scraping sound, like something soft sliding across polished wood, coming from Gallery C, the room that houses the museum's only statue collection. I flicked on the flashlight and stepped inside. All 6 marble pieces stood where they always stand, lit by the dim safety sconces. The air was perfectly still. Assuming the HVAC had rattled, I shrugged it off and moved on. Around midnight, while watching cameras in the control booth, I caught a flicker on screen 4. The feed for Gallery C. One of the statues, a 19th century angel, seemed a fraction closer to the doorway than it had earlier. I rewound the feed. The archive showed nothing but static for the previous 3 minutes. When the live picture returned, the angel was back in place. I chalked it up to a laggy recording system but marked it in the log anyway. Later I heard the scraping again, louder now and unmistakably coming from Gallery C. The second I stepped through the archway, my flashlight beam caught fresh dust smudges on the floor, half-moon drag marks that hadn't been there before, ending at the base of the angel statue. More unsettling was the angel's head. It was now tilted downward as if staring right at me. The museum pieces are cataloged daily, and any damage is a firing offense, so I reached for my radio to call the police. Static. The handheld was dead, though its battery had read full during checks. Just then every exit alarm panel lit up sealed, as if someone had triggered lockdown from the master console, a console only accessible inside the booth, where I'd been sitting. Panic set in. I sprinted toward the booth, passing statue after statue. I swear each one had turned a few degrees. A night statue's visor angled toward the corridor, a dancer's hand now reaching out. By the time I reached the console, every camera was blank. All I could hear was the rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape echoing down the marble hallway. With no other option, I yanked the master breaker. The building plunged into darkness but freed the magnet locks. Emergency strobes flashed red every 5 seconds, revealing, just for an instant each pulse, the statues inching through the corridor toward me. Not walking, not animated, merely moved between blinks, like a grotesque flipbook. I ran, following exit signs by strobe light. The moment I burst into the parking lot, the alarms cut out and interior lights flared back to life. Police found nothing inside, no footprints, no drag marks, every statue exactly where cataloged. But the CCTV had been wiped clean between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., and the only key capable of that belonged to me. I quit the next day. I thought I'd left creepy night shifts behind until a temp agency placed me on an overnight cleaning crew at a downtown office tower. The gig was simple. 3 floors, empty after 7 p.m., wiped desks, vacuum halls, go home by 2 a.m. My partner called off sick that Tuesday, so I rode the service elevator to floor 16 alone. As the doors opened, I was hit by icy air pouring from the corridor, far colder than the lobby AC had been. Lights were on motion sensors. They should have triggered, yet the hallway stayed dark except for emergency strips along the baseboards. Halfway to the conference room I heard a soft metallic clink, like a paperclip tossed onto tile. I aimed my phone light and spotted a single paperclip in the middle of the carpet. Weird but harmless. 10 minutes later, inside a cubicle farm, I emptied a waste bin and another paperclip landed beside my shoe. I spun around, empty corridor. I told myself clips roll off desks all the time, but my nerves disagreed. At the janitor's closet I flicked on the wall lamp. The beam revealed every paperclip from every desk arranged on the floor in a perfect spiral, ending at my feet. Something behind me whispered, barely audible, "Leave." Cold breath brushed my ear. I bolted for the elevators. The call button glowed, then went dead. A faint buzz overhead marked the cameras moving to track me, an audible motor hum I'd never noticed. Each lens turned, following as I sprinted to the stairwell. When I flung the door open, a third-floor exit sign flickered red below, and silhouetted against that glow was a figure leaning against the railing, face completely obscured. One hand lazily tossing a paperclip up and down. I slammed the door and booked it the opposite direction, upwards. Roof access was alarmed, but I preferred an alarm to whatever waited on 3. At the final landing the door opened with a shriek, rooftop floodlights snapped on, and a maintenance crew in hard hats jumped back at the sight of me. I must have looked deranged. Security searched every floor. No one matching my description of the figure was found, yet every camera on 16 had been physically turned to face the walls. The building manager blamed malfunctioning pan tilts and offered me hazard pay to finish the week. I declined. I still can't pick up a paperclip without shuddering. Last winter, desperate for income, I agreed to cover the overnight shift at a rural highway gas station, a lonely prefab box 20 miles from the nearest town. The owner warned me the power grid was spotty. If the lights cut, I was to stay behind the counter, flip the backup breaker, and wait. Traffic was non-existent after midnight. By 1:30 a.m. the only sound was the freezer humming and sleet ticking against the windows. Soon the fluorescence blinked off. Emergency LEDs cast a weak blue glow. I flipped the breaker. Nothing. Phone service vanished too. No bars. While fumbling for a flashlight, I noticed the freezer hum had stopped, replaced by slow, deliberate footsteps pacing the snack aisle. "Store's closed," I called, trying to sound tough. The footsteps stopped, silence stretched. Then a child's voice, no older than 10, whispered from the dark, "Are you alone?" I snapped on my light. Aisles empty. I hustled to the security monitor. With power out, the screen showed only static save for one camera, pump 2, where a single child-sized silhouette stood facing the store. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the forecourt, and there was no one there. Yet on the monitor the silhouette remained, now pressed against the camera lens. Its head twitched at impossible speed, jerking left-right-left as if buffering. The front door's magnetic lock clacked open. Chimes jingled though the door didn't move. Cold air poured in, and every aisle motion sensor triggered one by one, lights popping on in domino fashion toward the counter. I retreated into the back office and slammed the door, wedging a chair under the knob. The monitor in here ran on a separate battery. All 8 feeds sprang to life, each showing the same viewpoint, myself, in the office, from 8 impossible angles. Something was in the vents, crawling, the thin sheet metal pinging above the drop ceiling, getting closer. Just as the metal above me bowed inward, headlights swept the storefront. A state trooper on routine patrol pulled in to check the blackout. Everything went silent. The power surged back, radio squawking weather updates. I sprinted outside, babbling about something in the store. We searched aisle by aisle. Nothing. But the officer's dashcam later revealed that for 3 full minutes before he arrived, Pump 2's camera feed transmitted a date stamp from 1989, the year the station had first opened, and an empty lot where the building wouldn't be constructed for another 6 months. I lasted one night. The owner jokes he's running out of temps willing to stay past dusk. I don't find it funny. Whether it's marble statues that wander when no one's looking, faceless janitors who track you through dark corridors, or time-slip children pacing silent gas pumps, I've learned one rule. If you work alone after midnight, something out there notices, and sometimes, it wants you to notice it back.